Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Local Domination Podcast, your ultimate guide to get local clients fast. This is your host, Doran Aldana, and we have another power-packed session for you today. Yet again, this one comes at you with a live interview with Kathleen Black. You're going to love Kathleen. She's got some really cool distinctions on scaling your business, leveraging your business through team and through doing what you do best and getting the best to do all the rest, which I'm a huge proponent of. For those of you who aren't familiar with Kathleen, she's the CEO of Kathleen Black Coaching and Consulting. She's a motivational speaker, trainer, and elite coach. The system she used in her daily real estate business as a real estate professional to get her to the top, the upper echelon, the upper crust of top performers in the industry, are now the backbone of a real estate consulting company specializing in helping real estate agents build top teams, scale their business by leveraging the talent and time and resources of other people on their team and take their business to incredible levels of success, building a true business that sets you free instead of just having a glorified job trading time for money on the time for money treadmill. So very powerful distinction she's going to share on that. Kathleen is also a certified NLP practitioner and coach, a certified trainer of Human Potential Life Map, and certified DISC trainer. Now, that might not mean jack diddly squat to some of you because some of that is just jargon. Big idea there. She understands how to unlock the power of your mind to tap your full potential, because potential is overrated as far as I'm concerned. It's not about just potential. Everyone's got infinite potential. It's about unlocking it and translating it into your habits and the way you think and what you do day to day, which allows you to bear much fruit. We all have potential. It's about unlocking it. So I'm super stoked about having Kathleen here to help you, each and every one of you, unlock your potential at a higher level. She can speak on what the top real estate teams are doing to generate a consistent, scalable stream of leads, including using inside sales agents. So keep that in mind. If that's something you're wanting insight or help with, you can dig deeper with Kathleen, and we'll give you an opportunity to connect with her at the end of our time together today. Her director of coaching is an ISA specialist. And ISA, we're going to get her to break that down for us. What exactly, tell us, Kathleen, what does ISA mean? Because I'm thinking, I don't even know what that means, and that's probably important to know.
Yeah, well, first, super excited to be here. So thank you so much, Doran, for having me on the podcast. Always love sharing what we're doing. And ISA, is a really important role for most businesses, particularly when you talk about scalability, because what ISA allows you to do is to take one of the, for most businesses, most difficult part of their business, which is the prospecting, right? Is being able to take marketing lead sources that others would see as being, maybe cold, for example, an online lead, right? Like, let's say you're investing in Google AdWords, you're investing in a Facebook advertising campaign, whatever it is. For a lot of people in business, when those leads come in, particularly people who are really successful with repeat and referral or with warmer ad call, sign call, people responding to more branded ads, when those colder ones come in off of, Google AdWords again, or Facebook, they can feel like they take a lot more time and investment. So a lot of business owners kind of shy away from it. They shy away from the investment. The inside sales partner, the ISA, we actually call it lead conversion partner in our model. But what they do is they're specialized in taking those leads and understanding the psychology of where they're at in the sales process, how much nurturing they need, and they're trained on the exact dialogue to be able to connect with those people quickly, book connections with your sales staff or with yourself, if this is for yourself personally in your business. And they're also trained on the most important part that almost all businesses suffer with, which is long-term follow-up. So your ISA is on the phone, they're on email, they're on text, and they're reaching out and keeping connected with those long-term business opportunities, which means essentially I call it like their banking business. It's like you have a piggy bank and they're saying, okay, I've got all of these people in the loop for next year. So when we hit next year, on top of all the warm business that's coming in, we can create 20%, 30%, maybe even 50% more business. For some of our teams, we have 50 to 60% of their business coming from inside sales departments alone. So it's a massive tool in scaling and growing, increasing your business.
Very cool. So ISA, for those of you who don't know, is inside sales agent. Is that right, Kathleen?
That is exactly right.
Thank you for unpacking that for us. And obviously that works in conjunction with having marketing to generate inbound leads, inbound prospects and inquiries. And oftentimes you're spending time, energy, and money and marketing assets and opportunity costs to acquire those leads. And generally speaking, there is a cost per acquisition, per lead, and per customer, and per conversion. And so huge leverage point to be able to convert more of those leads into closings and cash. And that's obviously a big piece of what Kathleen teaches how to do, is how to improve that conversion and teach your ISAs how to maximize every single lead possible. So we're going to dive deeper into that in a moment. In the meantime, in between time, Kathleen, maybe you could just share a little bit about your story. I kind of get off into jumping the gun there with getting straight into content, but I always like to hear from our guest experts a little bit about their story. So you've obviously got a lot of acumen in coaching and in lead generation, lead conversion, and success in real estate, which a lot of those distinctions can translate to any local business, which of course we're going to get into in a moment. How did you get your start into business in general and real estate in particular, and then get into the teaching coaching game? I'm curious.
Well, we'll make it a short story, but there's a lot of years and levels in that. But long story short, I mean, I was doing investment property management with my now ex-husband, but at the time husband, and we were purchasing properties completely, gutting them, turning them into multi-unit, a lot of sweat equity. We had a young family. We were trying to grow very, very quickly. People around us started to call us, say we're just like Leon's, the no money miracle, because at the time we were just, leveraging, getting one property set up, doing the renovations, pull money out, go to the next one. So it was a very, very busy time. And what essentially happened was, like a lot of choices, I got licensed because we had a need in our business that just wasn't being satisfied. We ran all of the numbers. We were very picky about our investments, as most investors are. And the market was much nicer to us then than it is now. I mean, in Toronto, we're at a massive, sellers market, unbelievable growth happening annually right now in our average sale prices. But essentially, we were really having trouble because we would see the properties, I'd run the numbers, I'd know which ones would be profitable, long-term investments for us to hold. And everything we owned made money. We didn't invest into our properties. The rent covered and we were profitable. So there was a real lack with the realtors understanding what we needed and how to assess those properties. So I was pushed to get my license. And to be honest, I didn't want to. I had young children. I was really busy. I was running around doing showings and already running a full-time job, managing what we were doing. So I got licensed, went into a team environment. Within the first year, I was top 1% in our local board. Within the first year and a half, I was top 1% in all of the Toronto real estate board, which to give you a sense of competition, we have 46,000 agents on that board. It's the largest board in North America still to this day. So really busy, and I became a single mom, and I was selling, a lot of real estate and got really, really good at becoming unbelievably efficient with my time. And to be honest, it was a necessity. I had to be. So I perfected kind of all of the systems when I was brought on. The training I had then was probably 25% of compared to what we do now. So it was amazing to me that within a couple of years, the team I was on started a team-specific coaching company. And I had a background, I have a degree in psychology. That was always kind of my passion. Like you said, potential, how to unlock it, how to help people grow, right? But I was a single mom through most of university. So, knowing how to build and take risks was pretty natural for me. So anyways, long story short, they started a team-specific coaching company. Within 2 years, 2 of the 3 owners just wanted to walk. The company was in a lot of trouble. It went into some massive, massive debt. And I transitioned. By that time, I was coaching for the company. I became director of coaching, and the opportunity presented itself for me that if I could turn the company around and bring my content that I was using in sales to that company and enrich the content, that I could negotiate 50% ownership. So I did that. I took over running the company completely. I was a 50% owner, and the person who ran the sales team, which was Dan Plowman at the time, it was Dan Plowman Team Systems, he was a silent partner. So, amazing experience. Like, who gets the chance, to walk into a company, let alone one that's, could possibly go under any minute. And, I didn't have that experience. And I look back and I'm so very thankful, because I still believe, a fire sale can be a great opportunity for anybody. Mm-hmm. And I was able to turn the company around and systemize it and invest in that content. And our clientele retention went, through the roof. And it came to a point where I really believe in our industry, and I think in many, there's a calling out for an upper elite level of performance, of service, of professionalism. I think that there's really an outpouring of need from consumers to have people that they trust, that they can get wisdom from, and of agents in our industry that really understand their value. And that's lacking for us. So I felt a huge need to build an elite level performance company within our industry. I think it builds leadership, and I believe in it very, very much. So I ended up to sell the shares in Dan Plowman Team Systems and start Kathleen Black Coaching and Consulting, and continue the evolution of what I think is my contribution and what I'm meant to do. So very, very successful. In the first year, we actually grew bigger than the original company ever was from inception. So yeah, that's long story short, where we're at now. And about 75% of our clientele are top 1% across Canada and North America for production. So we're working with some elite superstar agents for sure.
Wow. Well, one thing I know for certain, success leaves clues, right?
Yes, it does.
And obviously there's something about your spirit, your determination, your passion for what you do, and your discipline that has left a wake of success, that has left clues that what you do and who you are makes a difference in the real world in terms of real impact, real performance, real breakthroughs. I mean, you turn that company around from drowning to thriving to the point where you decided to sell your shares and launch your own company and build your own vision. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. There are people on this podcast right now that perhaps are struggling. Maybe they're just barely keeping afloat, and they're starting to lose confidence. They're starting to lose faith. They're starting to lose hope that they can turn it around, and they start to blame the market. They start to blame the economy. They start to blame their employees. They start to blame their customers, and they start giving their power away, and they start to feel like it's no use. And maybe they're listening to this podcast just grasping for something that might turn them around. What would you say to someone like that? Because obviously you have not only a whole lot of drive, but you have I can tell right away that you have a lot of discipline. Tell us about how you bring the power of discipline to your thoughts and to your daily routines that turn this company around from drowning to flourishing. I mean, first of all, yes. I mean, I think discipline is part of integrity, right? And that allows us to be more powerful. So, if we make commitments to ourselves and we follow through on them, it makes us powerful in all areas of our lives. So yeah, I agree with that, on a phenomenal high level. I think, I think it's like anything. I mean, I think there's a couple of things at play for my personal journey that I went through, and I talk about it with my clients sometimes, and I call it, and don't get me the wrong way, but there's a principle in tarot, and I don't study tarot. I don't do tarot cards. That's not the point here. But there's a card, and it's called the Fool's card. And the Fool's card is basically a card that, when you come into a situation and in some ways you're so naively optimistic and you have such a high level of belief that you can create a great outcome, that you're capable, that you have a purpose to do this, and that there's a reason why this challenge is in front of you. And maybe it's hard because it's supposed to be hard. Like, I'm not going to lie to anybody listening. Leaving my prior company was very, very hard. It was a high conflict decision for me internally and externally in some ways, because it was my baby. Like, I love that company. I mean, I swear if you could look at my DNA, it was like etched on my soul. It was like a child for me. I have 2 children. It was like a child. Like, I felt like I nurtured it. We all know the extra nights, the weekends, the emotional investment. I mean, it was all there. But at the end of the day,
my vision and my passion and what I was meant to do, that company was hitting conflict with myself and the other owner for good reason, because the basis of that company and what I was meant to do were no longer in alignment. I was meant to take a company to another level, and I knew that. So sometimes in life, our greatest hurdles are there because if we don't pay attention to what's going wrong, life's going to make it harder and harder and harder until we do pay attention and we do what we're meant to do. So in my life, I look back that every single time I've had hardship or I've had hurdles, it taught me massive lessons. It taught me lessons about who am I associating with. I don't know if this is where you wanted me to go with it, but I won't do business with people who I don't feel I have an alignment of values with them, because I truly believe my business grew and we had flow and we had ease that I've never experienced in my business life over the past year and a half, because I finally associated myself completely with people who had the same focus on wanting to make a contribution, on wanting to make an impact, on wanting to put our clients first, that our dream is so much bigger than the profit, that it made the profit focus just irrelevant to us. I know that's hard sometimes in this type of a podcast to say, because profits matter, but profits are not our purpose. And to me, I mean, business is 10 million times harder if you don't know who you are, what your values are, what you're there to do. Money is easy in comparison to those things. In my beliefs, it's a much easier game than that.
Well, it's interesting you say that we meet these hurdles, and there's reason behind being confronted with these hurdles, these trials, these tribulations, these challenges, which is an interesting perspective, because a lot of people inherently, we balk at challenges. We think it's almost as if we resist them like they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But what if they're there to make us better, not bitter? What if they're there to serve us to not have a setback, but have a setup to prepare us for greatness? And I truly believe that it's our perspective, not our problem, but our perspective of the problem, that makes all the difference in the world. And I think you really shine a light on that you saw those hurdles, maybe not immediately, but somewhere down the line, you shifted your perspective to see the hurdle as an opportunity to learn the lesson. And once you learn the lesson, that's where the breakthrough is. And a few key distinctions I got from what you just shared there is associating with superstars. That's what I call them. One of my mantras in recruiting that served me so well, Kathleen, is superstars only. I will not hire anyone unless they're a superstar. And the cool thing about superstars, just like you, is they leave a wakeness of superstarness. They leave a wakeness of superstarness. And so success leaves clues and superstars leave clues. And when you roll with superstars, when you roll with eagles, you can't help but soar, because that's what eagles do. They soar. So I love that you decided to spread your wings and soar, and you're inspiring others to do likewise. So tell us about what it takes to soar. We've got people from all different walks of life, different businesses, all local businesses wanting to take their business to the next level. You told us that profits don't matter if you're not aligned with your purpose, that purpose comes first, profit comes second. Let's say someone feels like they are really dialed in on their purpose, but they're struggling to take things to the next level. They are working long and hard for less. Maybe in today's economy, with especially in the real estate game, there's less and less inventory, more and more buyers, and they can't help but just allow that knee-jerk reaction to come out. It's the economy, and I just got to ride it out. What would you say to someone like that to take charge, to take the bull by the horns, and really access a locus of control to create a breakthrough in the face of today's economy?
Great question. And I agree. I mean, I think even, years ago, 2008 to 2009, we had kind of the opposite, right? It went into a buyer's market and everyone's saying, oh, what's going on? It's economy and we can't sell houses. Well, we were selling lots of houses. I had a record breaking year, right? It's not, one of my clients said it in a fantastic way last week. And she kind of said, I have to remember that, we're being in this bubble, which for them is their team, gives them a completely different perspective of the outside world. And I'd say if you're blaming the economy, if you're saying nobody can do this in this particular climate, whatever economic climate or sales, your market, whatever industry you may be in, I would say you're automatically putting yourself prey to victim mindset. The minute that we're in a position where we say, I can't do it because, you're already out of the game. You're not in it. You're not on the playing field. Like, you're not engaged, right? And I think we're too easy on enabling each other sometimes. And again, I'm being blunt about it, but enabling each other to be in victim mentality and forgetting, and this is why you're right, associate with superstars, because when you associate with superstars right away, what can I do to communicate more value? What can I do to systematically be in front of people at the right time? I can have the best presentation, I can have the best script. If I use it at the wrong time, I'm not positioned properly. It doesn't matter how great my leads are, I'm going to lose my outcome. So how can I break down my sales process? And I would think most of us listening to this call would have a sales process of some sort. So how can I break it down so I can really get into the nuances of, okay, what's the most important value to present at this particular time? What commitments do I need? Because what I find is often when we have trouble leading our clients, we also have a lot of trouble leading ourselves. I've never worked with an agent, and I've worked with thousands at this point, agents with training. I've never worked with an agent who was really strong on leading themselves in their sales system and consistently struggled with leading clients. It doesn't make sense, right? So I'd say if your clients are, if you're not getting enough monetary profit, you know that your value exchange is too low. It's just the world doesn't lie, right? It's saying, hey, for some reason you could have an amazing product, you could have amazing service, but the value isn't resonating with the consumer. So right away, I'd say, shake it off and say, okay, what is it that I do? How am I communicating that? How can I change that? What's in it for my consumer? What's in it for my client? What commitments do I need from them in order to be able to provide this? Because our clientele will always mirror our strengths, they'll mirror our weaknesses, they'll mirror our self-esteem, whether it's good or bad, and how we value our time and we value our resources. We see this in real estate all the time, where we get into this scarcity mindset and all of a sudden we're running around for a buyer who might in this market do 10 or 20 offers before they get a house, and 15 offers in, they decide to go with somebody else because we didn't value our time enough or our services to get, for example, an agreement where that client's loyal to only work with us because we were in scarcity mindset and we were too scared to drop the ball. So I would say the biggest thing is to have an effective way of presenting your value so you get the commitments that you need, and being transparent and offering genuine feedback and guidance, right? We work in a consultant's approach, and consultants aren't paid to do rudimentary tasks, right? They're paid to analyze, they're paid to strategize, they're paid to give you a strategic vision. And I think in business right now, that is the one entity, so to speak, service that is so on demand from the modern consumer. Where's somebody who can actually analyze what's going on? Because you know what, whatever industry you're on this podcast, the person coming to you, they don't have your experience. They don't have your years in that industry. No matter what, they cannot look at information the way that you can. That's your value. Figure out how to interpret that and explain that. And that's to me where we're transitioning to, into the wisdom era and away from the information era. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know. I kind of got into talking about
that and a whole lot more. I'm getting a cramp in my wrist trying to keep up with you with notes. It's just
sorry.
I'm getting goosebumps and a cramp at the same time, which is a cool combination. Goosebumps because I'm super inspired by what you're sharing, and cramps because I'm having a hard time keeping up. So I like what you said about that our business is a mirror for who we are, essentially. You said it a little differently, but I wrote it down like this. When we have a hard time leading ourselves, and I think I'm flipping it around, when we have a hard time leading ourselves, then we have a hard time leading our clients. Exactly. That is so profound and so often overlooked and neglected. It's worth highlighting and worth writing down, folks. When we have a hard time leading ourselves, we have a hard time leading our clients. If we're struggling in our business, it's because there's something within ourselves that's blocking our breakthrough. And when we unlock whatever is blocking us, that's when everything changes. So tell us about that. Let's look a little deeper into the mindset piece. Local domination, Kathleen, is about mindset. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah.
Thinking like a champ, not a chump, in other words. What's one tip or idea or mantra or belief system or paradigm that you can give to our folks to help them think like a champion, think like a winner?
Yeah, it might seem extreme, but I think find that one thing, that piece in your business or in your life that you're so committed to that you would stand alone with it, right? Everybody else could say, no, we're not supporting it, or no, we're not doing it, because that piece usually unlocks part of your purpose, which is part of your passion. And it doesn't matter if it's in your business life, in your personal life. What matters is that you know what it is, because the minute you get to that point of that power, that you're so committed to an outcome, you're relentlessly, almost obsessively committed to it, like it's part of your being, then you can anchor other things to it. You can anchor your business to it. And, success in your business helps you. For some people, it's, give back in the community. For some people, it's in line with building a business because that's how they make their contributions. For others, it's spending more time with their kids or having more money to put them through certain schools or into certain rep sports games. The key is, if you can get that piece of you that's so excited, so passionate, that core, you can anchor every other part of your life in a positive way, which means that now you're building a life based on what's important to you, not based on what everybody else is telling you should have, right? Like people talk all the time about creating your own life and, awakening your potential, designing your destiny, all these kind of things we hear again and again. And for me, it's having the power to know what's important to me with such clarity that I can make quick decisions, very quick decisions in general that are going to allow me to get away from all the naysayers. And, some of us may be parents. I know running a business, being a single parent, trust me, there's all sorts of different judgments about how you should do that. Because I know myself, I know what I'm committed to, I know the example I want my children to see from that commitment, I'm very much sheltered from outside opinions and judgments and things that I think other people get really wrapped up in, and they spend a lot of energy in, even in their business lives, and they end up spinning their wheels. I think the most important thing is if you're allowing outside people to make rent space in your head, essentially, you're spending your energy dealing with that instead of giving your energy to in your business or in your family or in your nutrition, in your sports, whatever it is for you. Really, really important. Find that place of passion and commitment.
Wow. I love that a big piece of your story and your passion is how you show up as a mom, because we learn more from watching our parents live life than we ever will in a classroom. And how you show up as a mom, because of the commitment that you have to yourself on who you're being as a mom and who you're committed to being as a mom, that is a big driver that's linked to your business, is it not?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
It's interesting because as you say that, I get goosebumps again, because that's a big part of what drives me as a entrepreneur, is who I am as a husband and who I am as a father, because it's a vehicle not only to touch hearts and change lives and create breakthroughs in my clients' lives, but at the same time that I change lives and other people's lives through the work that I do, I'm able to provide for my family, give them freedoms, give them fun, give them fulfillment, give them connection, give them attention. All those things come because I'm crushing it in business. If I'm failing in business, all that stuff goes away. Sure, I can still be committed to being there for my wife and my kids, but when I'm crushing it and when I'm making things happen and when I'm creating breakthroughs for my clients, I'm able to provide freedom, opportunity, connection, fun that wouldn't be there otherwise. So there's this dual connection for why I do what I do, and I don't think I fully connected the dots on that until now. So that's really cool that not only is that something that you would encourage, but it's something that is inextricably linked to the breakthroughs. We got to find our must, essentially, is what you're saying. It can't be a should to win. It's got to be a must to win. Is that the idea?
For sure. Like, I think even though when you find that, even when you're tired, you're exhausted, you feel like quitting, when you find that thing, it drags you. Like, even when I'm tired, it's like, I know I'm meant to do those things. So it's almost like I don't have a choice, because I'm so committed on such a deep level that it's, even if somebody said to quit, no, I do it better. I do it more efficiently. I'd get more smart. but it's that deep that it's not an option not to persevere and seek ride that journey out, right? Try to give the most as I can towards those purposes.
Whatever it takes. That's a big idea. Losers wish, hope, and pray. Winners do whatever it frickin' takes. That's the big distinction I'm pulling away.
Yes.
And they do it aligned with their values. They don't do it just for the profit. They do it more importantly for the purpose. Right? Yeah. So I love that it's rooted in something that makes a difference for others in a positive way. It makes a difference for those closest to us, our friends, our family, our spouses. So let's talk about marketing real quick. Local domination is about effective marketing. I call it masterful marketing. If your hands were tied, Kathleen, and you could only use one marketing strategy to gain total local domination from scratch, starting from a standing start, what would it be? What would that one strategy be? Unpack that for us.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. It's a loaded question because I would say I need to know what I have. Do I have money or do I have time? And that would change my answer completely. If I have money, I go online because we're masters at our online, and our clients, if you have a big business, again, like a team, it's highly scalable, it's duplicatable. You can train multiple members to be effective. On a handoff, you can bring in ISA members, like you can have a really well functioning business. And what I like about online is that you get ahead of a lot of the competition. For us in real estate, there's a lot of competition between realtors. There's a lot of, competing to get the client, multiple, you have 10 people presenting a listing presentation. Online allows us to connect with people a lot earlier before the repeat and referral process. So we're actually, advancing our conversion line. We're spending more time talking to people and nurturing the leads, but we're getting exponentially more and with less effort because we're ahead of the game. So if I had money, I'd say online. If I had time, I'd definitely go in a different direction. If you're in a strong seller's market right now, definitely just listed, just sold initiatives, exclusive open houses, getting out there and door knocking and connecting with people so that they understand what is available to them with, prices for selling their houses. For local, I think would be what I'd go with time right now because of our particular market conditions.
Gotcha. Okay. So obviously if we had more time, speaking of time, we'd unpack both the online method and the sweat equity method on a much higher level. But I don't want, for the sake of brevity, I'd like to be able to go a little deeper in your particular area of acumen, which is team building. So for someone who's kind of the chief cook and bottle washer, they're wearing all the hats, the technician, so to speak, and they're realizing, this is really what it's cut out to be. I'd love to be able to have more freedom. I'd love to be able to put my kids to bed at night. I'd love to be able to sit down and have dinner with them. I'd love to be able to, go on trips and not be, towed around by the electronic leash, otherwise known as their cell phone. What would you say to someone like that in terms of the first couple steps on how to get out from being their own bottleneck in their business?
I think a couple things. I think we've touched on it with the Recruit Superstars. Unique ability is a big part of the premise of what we do. Unique ability is figuring out what am I great at, and it energizes me, and how can I partner with other people who have unique abilities in areas of my weakness. Or as you get bigger, how do I partner with people in unique ability of that particular role? What's needed for that role? So getting in tune with what are you great at? What energizes you? The age old, like what are the top 3, 5, 10 things that you need to do in the business because you're generating the most amount of hourly income for those things because of your role? And how do you start leveraging other people? And I think the initial first steps for us in real estate, it's quite a mindset shift, to go from a top producer to a team leader. Yep. It requires a lot of transition. My biggest advice would be take your business, unpack it in a bird's eye perspective and look at, okay, what are the different roles? Who would be great at them? How much would it cost me per hour to leverage the duties of those particular roles? What's my actual risk here? In real estate, our risk is always very simple at the beginning. Could I bring in an admin? Could I bring in another agent? And am I able to replace my face-to-face time, or am I able to replace some of the business I'm doing with others and grow exponentially? And as soon as you can do that, most of the time, the people you're bringing into leverage, their value is just as high as yours, but their income level and what it would cost you to replace yourself is usually considerably lower than what you're getting paid. So if you have a set system and structure, and you understand your business, I would say, for us, it's hard. Sorry, I'm trying to answer it concisely, but it's a process that we go through with our clients, right? To make sure that they're strategically and in a safe way leveraging out and growing. If you've built your business just for you, or you've leveraged in a way you didn't envision having a team, sometimes you can have to rip things out. And my biggest advice would be, don't be scared to do that. If you're an existing business, you might have to go 10 steps back to go 50 forward. And it can feel more painful for you, but it's a lot more painful getting stuck at that 10 steps forward for 5-10 years. And I've certainly worked with lots of people who have done that out of fear, and it's trapped their business. It's limited their growth.
Oh, yeah, always. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me how slow people are to bring on team. It's crazy. I mean, if you want to make 100 G's a year and you're working a 50-week year at 40 hours per week, your time needs to be worth $50 an hour. Do the math. It's $50 an hour. Yeah. And if you're doing crap that you could delegate for $10 an hour, $15 an hour, even $20 an hour, your income is going to drop accordingly. It's just simple math, right? Not to mention your freedom and your fulfillment, because you're doing all this crap you don't like doing. Exactly. So, I've found from my experience, the best first hire, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Kathleen, the best first hire is usually a part-time, spare time, and between time, if you just want to ease into it, part-time marketing admin assistant to help you launch, manage, and maintain more marketing. Because think about it. When you're busy, what do you drop first? Marketing, proactive marketing activities, right? And when you're not busy, and then when you stop doing that, then of course the pipeline dries up, and you gotta scramble to beat bushes to get the pipeline rocking again. And it's this feast or famine, up and down yo-yo roller coaster ride. And how many real estate agents, how many mortgage professionals, how many business owners do you know who fall into that cycle?
Right?
Almost all of them, right?
Yeah.
So one of the easiest ways to build consistent growth is get a part-time, spare-time marketing assistant, and then of course, I've found LinkedIn to be invaluable for higher level skill. Like Upwork, I've found to be excellent for VAs. I've spent over 200 G's over the last 10 years on getting help from people abroad on Upwork and Elance. But I found LinkedIn is particularly good for licensed people with more acumen, and people who have already got experience in a particular industry. Where have you found to be effective places, effective little honeypots for recruiting talent?
Yeah, I mean, our clients kind of benefit because we run recruitment systems. So we have a step-by-step approach, because
gotcha.
we want a mass amount of candidates. Essentially, we run recruitment and hiring. They're two separate systems, one being for licensed people in our industry. But we run them the same way we run marketing. We want an extensive, volume of applicants, and then we want a system to sift and sort. So we want them, our ads on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We want them on Indeed. We want them still on Kijiji in our area. We also want to do mass email for us in our industry can work as well. We want broker support, so networking. So our team leaders will put it out there to colleagues and associates. They're not scared to do that because they're talking to people all the time, and we essentially just want them knowing, hey, that team's growing. Hey, they're always looking for people. Have you thought of going there? And the other thing that they do is they're very good at communicating their brand culture in a recruitment setting, but that's a different topic. But, they make it very easy to understand who they are and who their values are with their brand presence so that people gravitate to them or not, which is crucial if you have a healthy culture.
One of the things that I hate the most about this podcast is that I get so fired up to go deeper and we just don't have enough time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really a frustration for me, but just the pearls of wisdom that we've gleaned from you just in the short time we've had have been really, really awesome. Tell us about, for someone who's listening to you and maybe they're wanting to grow their team, or maybe they're wanting help getting more leads, converting more leads into closed transactions, or whatever the case may be, or maybe they're just wanting help with, high-level coaching or something like that.
Yeah.
Tell us just a quick maybe overview on what you offer and what's the best way for people to get a hold of you.
Yeah, for sure. We offer full team consulting, coaching. We specialize in that. So any type of team development, you can go to our website, which is www.kathleenspeaks.com, and you can request a free consult call. You can fill out a business assessment. There's some reports there. So we will connect with you and give you some feedback on where you're at and how to grow. We also run a coaching series called Flip Scripts, and that specializes in online lead conversion. And again, that's a niche for us where most businesses are doing a really poor job. They actually will give up on doing any type of pay-per-click and social media kind of paid advertisements. And our clients are just killing it in that department. It's what allows their teams to grow quickly. So that's called Flip Scripts. That's as low as $49 a month to jump on that with us twice a month. We run Core Pursuit, which is belief, communication, and leadership. But I think if you're looking to build a team, the big things that we do is we do a huge team summit in November. That's attended by, full teams come out all across North America. And if there's anyone listening who sells 100 or more houses per year, we do a 2-day mastermind in June in Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is amazing because it's just the top producers, and some pay for exclusivity in their local area. So you get to, again, plug in with those superstars, right? And really solve any business problems. So we do anything to do with systematically building your business. You can reach out online and connect with us. We're happy to help.
Kathleen, it has been such a pleasure, such an honor to be with you. So stoked that my peeps have been able to get a little insight into your world and your acumen, and I know many of them will be following up with you to dive deeper into what you bring to the table so they can create their breakthrough with your insight. It's amazing how just one little distinction, one little nuance, one little secret can catapult you from struggle to success, from just surviving to thriving. I mean, I've had in my own experience, like literally just spinning my wheels. And then I found one mentor or one coach or one leader, someone who speaks into my life and gives me one little pearl, and it literally changes everything overnight. It changes my income, it changes my fulfillment, it changes my freedom, everything. So that's one of the reasons I do this podcast, to bring the catalyst for breakthrough into the world of my audience, people who get the idea that you can't improve if you don't learn. You can't learn if you don't seek. Seek and you shall find. Knock, the door will be opened. And I know that you've opened the door and you've made a difference for many, many people listening. So thank you on behalf of our audience. Really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Doris. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
Awesome. So that's all for now, my friends. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Local Domination Podcast, your ultimate guide to get local clients fast. So if tips galore that help you soar is what you adore, know this: we've got more in store. Remember, nothing happens without implementation. So in the meantime, in between time, go forth, engage. It's time for Operation Domination.